Can't taste anything. Okay.
What? So what's happening, man? What's happening?
Bad. Nothing, bro. Just ready to get this on, man. We could save it for the podcast. Or we're restarting.
We started already, man. That's how we roll here, man.
All right. As far as same old. Making reggaeton beats and stuff like that. But right now I put it on a quick pause because right now I'm concentrating more on my health, mentally and like physically.
Oh,
so yeah, every day I've been trying to go to the gym or do something active. Obviously, these few days I haven't because I got sick, so I'm not gonna turn it around. But other than that, yeah, man, just literally working out, and then when I have a little bit of time, make music, and then in a couple months, I want to have like a big library so I could open up my online store, like a beat store, so I could
really
get the ball rolling. Yeah, get the ball rolling on that, man. By the way, is my levels good?
Yeah, your levels is good as always, man.
All right, cool, man.
Who was it? Like, there was someone else that I interviewed not too long ago, and I was like, oh yeah, Vivo. You and Vivo happen to be like probably the only two interview people who's come over to my show and have great mic volumes. And even when I receive it, it sounds amazing. So it sounds like as if we're literally in there. But then again, we're all SAE people, so
hey, there you go, man. And then the interface is over there.
So yeah, no, your mic is good. Damn, bro. So you're right now. You pause it for now because you're taking care of your mental and your physical health all together.
Yeah, yep. That's exactly it, man. Oh, sorry. That's the
laundry.
Mm-hmm. That's the last load for today, though. Thank God.
Oh wow. No, I feel you. I'm doing mine as well. So it's like I'm never gonna hear it because it's like I'm sealed inside here. But
Yeah. That's good, bro. Oh yeah, by the way, this is like my new apartment.
Yeah, bro. I've never seen it.
Yeah, bro. So this is my PC area. I mean, I don't want to turn around because my computer's like a little iffy. Like the Thunderbolt cable is like messed up.
Oh, okay. No, don't worry.
It's just like a standard 1.1, you know what I mean?
That's what's up. Where you located?
I'm in Little Havana. Well, close to Little Havana, around there.
Okay. How is it over there?
It's good, man. The only thing I didn't think about was when I moved out was that I still work with my dad. Besides the music thing, is that I have to drive every morning to Hialeah again. So like, damn. And then by the time I get home, it's already like 6:30. I take a break for like an hour, and then I go back to the gym. And then I come back around like 10:30. So I literally just come home and sleep, and that's it, bro.
You only have
life, bro. That's life.
Hey, man, that's part of life, man. We all go through this part of process every day, man. That's what we do here, man.
And I remember, bro, I think the last time we talked was when I was telling you about like, I've been looking around to like move out and stuff like that. And here we are, man.
It happens, man. Dreams happen, man. Work hard and you get what you get, man.
Hey, exactly, bro. And that's one thing that I mean, I don't know if we want to get into it later, or it's like a quick thing, but
yeah, go for it.
It's really like how, like you said, like work hard and you get what you work for. Because like I for like my whole life, like I was always like, why that person, like why did they get it? Blah blah blah. But I was like, nah, man, like they put in the work and they got rewarded for putting in the hard work. So that's just how life works. Life is not fair. Either you want it or not. It's just depending how bad you want it.
And it's funny because you and me talk about this, and then I've talked about this with every other person who's come over to the show about it. Like mostly at the end of the show, we see like, put in the hard work and things will come up. And it's surprising like how everybody has at least the majority of people that I've interviewed or talked to have that same mentality as us. It's like, the best results to get to things is just put in the hard work, man. You have to do the hard work. You can't half-ass anything at all, bro, because it's not gonna come. And if you do get all of the stuff by half-assing, it won't last long. It's gonna be like a dark humor joke. It's like the Twin Towers, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna come down crashing very hard, man. That's just how it is, man. Have you seen the previous episode before you, man? I interviewed Mr. G. Mr.
G, who's that? Sorry.
Man, I don't know if you had him after I graduated, from SAE, but he's the Hispanic professor who was bald and had a little beard on it.
No, I don't think I saw him.
Oh, so it had to be.
I'll check it out. Definitely, I'll check it out. Yeah.
No, we had a great conversation with Mr. G, man. Yeah. I love him. Shout out to him, and shout out to him for even saying yes to me about it, man. He's very, very busy, and he and I would just we just say hello and start catching up, just like how we did it here. And from then on, first 5-10 minutes of the episode, we're already talking about some fucking hardcore facts and knowledge and shit. I was just like, whoa, like what we're talking about is talking nice stuff, man. And then after that, we just spin it around all the way to the end, you know?
Yeah, dude. And another thing too, to add on to the, like how you say not to half-ass anything, is also do not expect handouts from anybody. Oh. That's another thing that I realized throughout the time, like noticing about myself, is like I always expected like a little handout, like, oh man, like, you know, I half-ass something and I expected something from somebody. And that's just not how the way it works, man. And one interview that you posted, and it's from Nitty. It's one thing where once he said that, I was like, man, he's so true, bro. It's like when he was talking as far as production, is like don't get mad when like your quality is not there. You get me? Like don't think like, oh, they're just not they're not getting my music, or people are not hearing my music because like they're not paying attention or something. Like you put like an excuse. It's like, no, it's like how Ricky says, bro. Like there's standards to it. You get me? Like as far as mainstream standards, there's standards. You get me? So like if you're not there, just keep working and working, and you're gonna get there, man.
Yeah, some of the stuff that I was very intrigued about what Ricky said, for everybody who does not know, Nitty. Right. Yeah, it's that part is like, and also the execution that I remember very carefully when he said about the execution is like, like you probably make the dopest song ever, but if the execution itself is shit, then it is shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that correlates to the half-ass part. Like, don't half-ass the whole thing, just whole-ass the whole thing, you know? Because like, again, idea is there, but you execute it, and you're stuck with the, oh, they don't like me because yada yada yada. It's like, maybe it's because you half-assed the project and you could have done it a bit better. You could have improved it a bit better.
Of course.
And, you know, like sometimes people don't actually see that through. It takes like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel humans itself are just prideful beings, you know? Like, like sometimes we're too
ego thing.
Yeah, it's an ego thing. We're too sensitive and we're too then stubborn about it. It's like, nah, man. This is like that, bro. It sounds like that and it's dope. Let's go for it, man. I don't know. Like sometimes we can't even dictate ourselves to be like, maybe we're wrong. Maybe my shit is not that shit, you know?
We always think we're right. We know it all, blah, blah. Well, majority of people, because there are some people that are self-aware.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what these podcasts are for. You get me? Anybody listening, you get me?
Yeah.
Get an ego check. It happens to all of us. It's not something embarrassing. You get me?
Agree.
And it's not just for your career, it's for life in general.
You
get me? And dude, ask a bunch of older people. They learn throughout their years. And that's another thing. You get me? I mean, if you're young, I mean, it happens, but you learn as you grow.
And that has happened to me plenty of times. There's times in which I'm too stubborn about saying like, nah, bro, it's not that bad. Like, come on. Like, it can't be that bad. And then sometimes I reevaluate and be like, you know what? Maybe he's right. You know, I took it personally. I took it, you know, I took it the wrong way. I should be much more open-minded about it. They're just giving me a feedback. Maybe it's a very harsh feedback, but it's the feedback that I needed, because if they don't tell me, then I may never learn.
Yeah.
And I follow the same way, the same philosophy to everyone else. Everybody else, whoever needs some help from me or some feedback, I tell it like it is. And I tell it like, yo, man, I like the idea, but it sucks. Here's the ways you can actually fix it. Do this, and that, and switch this, and that. And before you know it, man, if you can do all that stuff, it's going to come out nice, man. It's going to come out nice. But you're almost there. You're almost there.
Exactly. And with each step that you try to get better at, you get me? With each other obstacle, you'll get better and better.
I agree, man.
It's just a matter of fact of being self-aware and like working towards it, and not just ignoring it and thinking you're hot shit.
It's amazing that you see that a lot here in South Florida. Like there's so many people who like that self-awareness that they believe some of the hottest shit ever, man. And I wish I could be a little bit more vocal about it and say like, yo, stop being so centered, bro. Like stop being such a stubborn ass. Like no, but I don't know. That's just opening.
I feel like it's like everywhere. Obviously, it's more noticeable here because we live here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's for sure like on everywhere worldwide.
I'm pretty sure. Like if you go to another state or another county or another city, we might see the same things, but
maybe a little bit less. I mean, remember this is a flashy city, so everybody wants to
see. And that was the part I was actually gonna go to. I was actually gonna go to you like. Outside of the city, you probably see even less. I mean, who was I talking to at one of their previous episodes? I think it was with Vivo. I was talking about, the time that I did my mini tour with Nitty Gritty when he was starting up, and I just chauffeured him all the way to Florida.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember that we went to Gainesville, and there was these openers who happened to do a song with Nitty. And I remember that the promoters pay for those guys. They pay like, hey, here's your money for today's show. And I'm like asking them, it's like, yo, guys, like you guys sold tickets? I'm like, nah, we didn't sell any tickets. We just sold tickets to our friends, probably. Oh, so what's that money? No, they booked us to play this show. And I was like, what the hell? You don't see that here in Miami. What the fuck?
Yeah, no.
So when I hear those stories from other cities outside of Miami, I see like, yeah, like it may not happen here, but it does happen out there that people do look up for their locals and do look up for their openers, Over here is much more cutthroat and they only care about now they emphasize more on your social media.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Now you need to have a strong social media to do anything, which is like ridiculous. The era that we are.
In general, they look for more somebody that's established or branded already.
But that's more
pay them. You know what I'm saying?
That's more labels. Labels now they're going the lazy route. They just want like what you say, someone who's branded, established, and has a lot of pulls anywhere they go. It's like any picture or any TikTok video that they pull is like, oh my god, 100 likes, 100,000 views, like holy shit, a lot of comments. That's what they want now.
Agreed. The only thing is, I agree with you. Of course, it's unfair to those talented people that are not getting noticed, but I also understand it from their point because they're seeing it as a business point of view. You get what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, a label is a business, and what business is all about is money. You get me?
Obviously.
So, of course, if it's somebody that has like an amateur song, but they could see that could pull a bunch of plays, it's gonna be money for them. Plays is money for them. You get me? So I understand why they do that. Of course, is it fair? No, but you get me? Yeah. Just keep it's like I was saying earlier. Just keep working your ass off because at the end of the day, bro, there's hundreds of labels. There's hundreds and hundreds of labels, man.
And they still continue to grow. To be honest, at least more in the EDM scene. There's like there's like a bunch of labels, big artists making up their own labels now and everything. It started to get to that trend in which now artists are starting to make their own labels, at least some big artists, like Queso has his
a couple years ago, I started seeing that.
Yeah, Queso has his own label, like Welcome Records, I think it was. And then Bear Grylls has his own label, Root Service.
Nice.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these people. I mean, obviously Jaws would, hey, bite this. But yeah, like you see the transgression of a lot of these artists, well known that they're starting to do their own labels. And obviously you got the other artists which they're already happy within their own labels, like Seven Lions with Ophelia Records, when all those people that are with Ophelia, Trifecta, and Wooly and shit. Then you got the Disciples, the Never Say Dies, the Circus, and the Spinning Records, the Reveals, the Musical Freedoms, and whatnot.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, all those labels.
At that point, those are just like big. Should I call it corporation labels?
Kind of in a way. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because it's no longer it's no longer like it's an artist created this label and brought a bunch of homies. Like no. It's more of a guy actually brought a label, and it's like functioning as a company as it should be. You know, it has its own artists, has its own A&Rs, has its own graphic designers, as a marketers or publicists, their merchandise. Like publishing people. Like like now and those I guess I called those guys like corporate level labels
Mhm.
versus the artists who were just like, hey, I just created my own label, and here, anybody who wants to come over is just like, hey, we're good. I mean, it's Session with Subsidia.
Yeah, true. I mean, he signed like what, over 100 artists, something like that.
It's a ridiculous amount. Like I stopped counting after the first compilation, to be honest, because every compilation, if you notice, it's like, oh yeah, I know this artist. I don't know all these 20 other artists.
Right.
And our boy Shoku was one of them. Shout out to him, man.
Shout out Shoko or is it Shuko? No, Shuko, not Shuko. Shoko.
I don't know, man.
If you listen to this, let us know how you pronounce it. Shoko. I think it's Shoku.
I think so too. I don't know. I have to bring him back again. And I will ask him. It's like, is it Shoku or is it Shuko? Or is it Shoko?
Shoko.
Who's the kid with the spiky hair? Shoku.
I agree on you on the label thing, bro.
So what do you think about the whole debacle that I've been having with certain people with the whole demo submission to these labels? Like, do you honestly believe, in your experience, have you ever experienced some of the stuff that I've talked about it? Or do you think it's like, you know what, it's not really a waste. It's a waste of time. Like, I'd rather go the independent route.
It's kind of tricky, man.
I know it's very tricky. And I have discussed this with multiple people. Yeah. And they all said, the majority of them agree to a certain extent, but they also said, like, at the end of the day, it's a business. That's how they operate,
Exactly. It kind of falls down to like what Ricky had said. You can send a bunch of demos, but at the end of the day, you get me. You gotta swallow your ego and get me. Maybe just your song, one, doesn't fit their style, two, it doesn't meet their standards, and you get me, and three is like what we were talking about, like you need the brand, the image, and all that stuff. You get me? So all those three things fall in those categories. Like they play a part in that. So why I agree with you, why don't send your music to labels, is because maybe since you're not that good, just keep self-releasing until eventually you catch their attention. You get me? Mm-hmm. And that's as simple as I could put it. It's just like, if demo submissions don't work out, it's just a friendly sign that, you just got to get better, or maybe just try other labels. There's a bunch of, like I was saying, there's a bunch of labels coming out every day. It doesn't matter if they're brand new label, dude. I mean, if you're going after big names and like you don't even care about the quality of your music, then that just shows like what you really want. You just want the fame. You don't really want to love the music that you make.
Right.
So yeah, if the demos that you send, they reject you, and it's because your music's not that good, just keep doing self-releases. And now that part, self-release is the best thing you could do, because not only you'll get attention from the label eventually when you get good that you want, other labels will hit you up that are related to those.
I agree. And I encourage a lot of people to self-release your own music, man. Because another aspect in which I discussed this before is that if you're waiting for them for an answer and it's like a month and 2 or 3 months,
I don't know.
Like at that point, like, do you really want to send it to these guys? Like, might as well just send it and release it, make the marketing and do something about it, but don't wait for them, man. And sometimes it's hard because sometimes you don't even know whether they listen to it or not, or they haven't even read your email or not, So you're stuck in this little limbo in which, what should I do? What should I do? And then before it gets into your head, and then before you know it, you feel like, I don't want to release a song, and you just shoved it up in the drawer.
I feel like if it comes to that, for sure, I wouldn't suggest waiting for more than a month. Get me? If they end up hitting you up after it's already released, just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I already self-released it. But if they respond, is because they're interested. So just make another song that was like similar to that, and then send it to them again. But for sure, do not wait more than a month to hear back from a label. If they don't reply, just self-release. You get me? And who knows, man? That self-release could get you the biggest plays, more plays than you thought from a label.
Yeah, that's actually true.
And if you're looking at it, I mean, it's kind of hard because as far as streaming, making money from it, you need a lot of plays. But if you look at it from like a money perspective,
it'll be hard.
Self-release will give you a little bit more, just because if you go through a label, of course, labels need to get a percentage.
Yeah.
So you get me? If you would have made $10 and the label takes like, I don't know, $6, and you're stuck with $4. Rather than if you were to self-release and you get those $10, those $10 are fully yours.
I agree, man. And one other thing that I will say, like, if you still, like, again, I said this in that episode, like, if you still want to release with Dan and you're not gonna give up, then all right, then do the other route, in which just send the songs to the artists who played in that label.
Oh, true. That is smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Build a relationship first. Just don't send it like that, because majority of the time it doesn't work like that. When people just get messages, because you got to think about it, like those people get hundreds of messages every day. You're not going to be that special one. You get me? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So build a relationship first, and then, you get me? That's it.
I mean, that's all you got to do is just establish a relationship with the artist.
You know? Be yourself. Like, don't like fake it, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah, because they can see it through. We can see through the bullshit at any given time, you know? When you
the bullshit, yeah, man.
It's very easy. When you send us an email, it's like, hey, how are you, man? I hope you're good. Like, hey, man, I just got this fire track.
I think we all sent emails like that before.
I'm looking back at some of my emails, and I swear, like, I'm pretty sure there was probably one or two occasions in which I send it like that to certain people.
Right, yeah.
There was probably like one or two occasions. I can't recollect all of them, but I know I'm pretty sure I try to reach out to people like that like one or two times. But the other times I just DM people.
Yeah. Another thing too is don't spam email everybody. Like, don't send your demo out to everybody at the same time. Like, make each email unique.
Yeah, like if you're gonna
at the end of the day, everybody likes to feel special. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you're gonna do a cold email, like, make them feel like, hey, you know, I just heard your recent track or whatever.
Right.
It got me inspired. Like, because of that song, it got inspired to make me do this. Would like to hear your feedback, if I'm close to it or not. If there's something I can improve upon it, would be greatly appreciated. I know your time is valuable. I'm not gonna bullshit you around, you know, just whenever you get a chance. It's all I need. The appreciation is all I need. That's it. Do stuff like that, and really or not, people actually do listen to you. People will actually like, oh shit, okay, cool. At least he's considerate. Whenever I get a chance, I'll listen to it, and then if the song is good, the song is good. He'll definitely play for it, and he'll definitely ask good.
That's another thing too. Is like, well, it's not another thing. It's just like I said. At the end of the day, the song has to be good. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
You could word it however you want. You could be as close as possible to the person. You could put makeup on it, but if the song is not good, it's just not good.
Oh, and don't fool around with songs that are easily made by let's say like Cymatics packs and Cymatics templates, or other templates and demo submissions from other, you know, companies who do all these sounds, because a lot of the time some of these people actually made those sounds to those companies, and you can tell it's like, you just basically copy pasted my sound into yours. That's all you did.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. As far as templates and stuff like that, samples, I feel like it's really beneficial for people who are starting off. For they could get the idea of how songs are made and stuff like that. But for sure, if people use loops and stuff like that, just chop it up, edit it, for it won't be 100% original. It should be fun, man.
I mean, if you're gonna
mess around with it, just don't leave it. Just don't copy and paste.
Yeah, don't just leave it like that and just call it a day. So it's like, I like this sound, and just leave it like that. You know, that's just the most lazy work ever. You know,
yeah.
Like, if you don't put in some of the work and even try to even mix and master properly is like you're literally half-assing everything, you know? The whole point about doing templates is there are two ways to look at templates. One, if the template is very good and you want to learn how they make it, you reverse engineer it, you know? I know for a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, I don't have time to reverse engineer this. But it's like, well, make time. Because if you're actually you want to put in the effort to learn how to make and sound like these templates itself, then you reverse engineer the shit out of it, you know? Yeah. And by doing so, you will learn a lot more and you'll be able to do all this stuff automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll just come natural to you whenever you start doing any of these projects.
Yep.
And if you still like some of these samples and sounds, okay, then keep it. But if you're gonna keep it, make sure that you make it very original. Like you said, do some editing with some of these loops, like do some cuts, or my favorite word, resample. Resample the shit out of every sound, you know?
Sure.
Make it sound like it came from you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it sound like it came from someone else, you know? Because with that someone else, everybody can just do it, you know? What makes you so special than what every other artist who's already in that label? Like, I could just ask that person to do the exact same thing, too. What makes you special?
Yeah.
That's when you start doing, you know, all those shenanigans. That's when you came up with the new sound, the new style of drums, you know? Be very original about this shit. And that's one way. That's one way to look at templates. The second way to look at templates is maybe a jump start to a project. Like, let's just say that I love the drum patterns of this template. And I know if I start my project with these drum patterns, I'm gonna make something very original and then it's just gonna go nuts. And hey, just have that jump start, you know?
Yeah.
And then create some wild shit by using those drum patterns and just go nuts with it. Sky's the limit at that point, you know? But you have to put in the work, you know? We can't stress it anymore by just half-assing some of this shit. Like, you can't, bro. And sadly, I'm seeing that a lot more on some of these locals, you know? Some of these locals are putting the hard work that they should. And then there's a few that I'm noticing, you know, from the IG that they're like, oh yeah, I've heard that sound before.
Right.
You know, and it's just like, are you really actually doing this because you love it? Or is it because of the fame and the glory? That's the reason you're doing it.
Right.
And it's sad because like I was like, dude, like, if you're gonna bullshit, don't bullshit me, you know? Just be honest about it, you know? Just say like, yeah, I'm doing some of these songs because I got it from this temple. We're like, all right, cool. Make something original about it. Don't just like slap it and call it a day.
Yeah. Like I said, at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, just tweak it a little bit. You know what I mean? Just don't leave it completely original. It should be fine. Because sometimes, you know, it works. But like I said, just tweak it, chop it up. You know, do get creative with it. And like you said, resample it, all that crazy stuff.
What are you thinking about using this splice samples?
I personally don't use them that much, just because on my end, I like to make everything from scratch. But there is some good samples. Let me tell you that there is really good samples. I don't blame people for using some of them because they sound good by itself. But like I said, just chop it up and make it a little bit different. Just don't let the whole loop ride the whole song. You know what I'm saying? Just chop it up. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I don't have really negative or bad, good or bad to say about it.
I really don't have anything bad to say about Splice, other than just like, if you're gonna use,
I love the samples.
The samples are dope.
Like the kick, snares, all that stuff. Yeah.
I was never into Splice until our good friend Pat from Mode Step. Shout out to Pat, man.
Oh yeah, when they released their pack, right?
Yeah, when they released their pack, that's where like, all right, let me get into my Splice account and start downloading some of this stuff. You know,
he has some really good original, like real drum sounds. I was like, bro, this is nice.
Bro, mostly all my projects up to now came from those sample packs. Yeah. Like the drum patterns, like the drum rolls, the snares, like,
yeah,
and like even sometimes the glitchy sounds that they did, like I even used them for some of the projects. I even used some of their effects. I resample it. I just put in some Portal in it, and just it's wild to me how crazy it goes just by slapping Portal, and just like comes out even more crazy shit into it, you know?
Mhm.
I really love it. And that's the only reason why I have the Splice account, just to support them. Other than that, I'm just, any
Yeah.
given time, I'm just gonna have to cancel that account because it's like,
Yeah, I recently just stopped. I didn't cancel it. Like I canceled the membership, but I didn't close my account.
mhm.
But I recently did that because just, bro, I have like, I don't know, I have probably like over like 3,000, 5,000 samples,
Mhm.
and that's way more than enough. So I was like, at the end of the day, all those samples already sound alike. So I was like, I'm gonna work with what I got, and they're already good quality. So that on my end, that's gonna be throughout the years of collecting. So I was like, you know what? I don't need more samples. I work with what I got.
I like that mentality, dude, because it's that thought of mentality, believe it or not, work with whatever you got makes your stuff more limitless. Makes you think doing stuff more limitless, because it's like, okay, today I'm using this drum, this kick, and I'm gonna make some of the gnarliest glitch sounds out of it. And then before you know it, that one glitch or drum that you just made becomes a whole entire drop.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, and I'm gonna continue doing the same stuff. And at the end of the day, you end up using the same sounds over and over because that's your sound, and that you establish it right there. And you just like, why do I need to keep reinventing the wheel if I already got something that I created on my own original outcome? Let me just like do it on the rest of my projects, and that comes even easier. I just have to change it up a little bit and change the patterns about it, and have some different notes, different sounds about it, but still with the same sound that I created,
Agree.
Like, let me put it a perfect example. Like, I feel like, I found my own original sound. I just never thought of using it again. When I released my song Future Fiend, which is like 4 years ago, something like that. I released it on EDM.com or dubstep.net, whichever it's called right now. I tried to revisit that project multiple times to see like, what is it that these guys loved about my song that, they were like, yeah, we want to release it,
Right.
And what I did is like, I saved the drop. Well, I have the whole project, but I saved it, particularly the drop, into Ableton. Ableton has the ability to grab whatever we have and put it in our user library, so we can actually have that whole function. And so that way we don't have to jump from project to project to copy some stuff and put it back again. Like, no, we could just have it right there in our folders. I love Ableton, man. Yeah. So what I did is like, okay, let me start dissecting each of these sounds that I created, Let me start, like going one by one. It's like, okay, let me do a drop with this sound.
Right.
Nightfall came with that one sound. Let me do a drop with this sound. Wrath, which is I just released it like a month ago.
Yeah.
With this came from that project as well. Let me do another one. Black Order, which was like a few years ago as well. The drop came from a sound from that drop.
Right.
So basically, I'm just like pick and choosing whichever of the sounds that I want from that original song that I made. And because of it, I created 3 different projects.
Right.
And now I'm looking at it like that. And now I'm just like, all right, every time I'm doing a project, I'm just gonna grab some of those sounds because that actually suits me. That suits what I'm trying to get to. And it sounds original as fuck because nobody actually has that. Nobody has those sounds. So now
it's like when artists make their own sample pack. You know what I mean? They pick their sounds from each favorite song that they make and then just keep evolving that sound.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's where once in a while I'll just grab a sample here and there to glitch it out, or make it sound like, oh shit, this is part of it, or make it sound like that extra detail stuff. That every song, when you have an entire, when you have your entire drop ready, but you still feel like it's still naked, it needs some armor. That's when you put all the little detail sounds here and there, and have a little gap here. Yeah, that's what makes it full. And then when you listen to it, you're like, oh my God, this is a battle armor ready to go shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah.
So that's how I'm approaching some of these projects right now, and that's how I'm trying to get to it. And bro, that's not that much brain thinking I have to do, because it's like the sound is already there. I just have to mess it up a little bit more until I found a satisfied sound in which, like, hey, I can fuck with this. I can still rock with this sound. Let's rock it out with this project and blah 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 blah. You know.
Agreed, man. That's a good way to go about it. Yeah, because like I just said, you just keep evolving, and then eventually it becomes your signature sound. People will recognize you for that sound.
And it's very hard. It's very hard.
It's very hard to not reinvent it, but like add something new to it every time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the creativity comes. You get me?
I agree.
On one thing that I wanted to add as far as splice is when like if you end up using the splice loops and all that stuff, just make sure to mix them really good, just because all those sounds are cranked up and limited to sound really nice and pretty. So like once you put it in your project, they're gonna be so loud and already squashed. You get me? Especially vocals. I don't know why vocals from Splice they're so harsh.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so you get me. Just make sure to mix all those samples down, because if you just leave it like that, when it comes to the mastering, it's just gonna be a really bad mess.
And that's all the vocals that you've downloaded before from Splice?
Not all of them, but majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kara, she's a very famous vocalist from Splice. She's like a really good engineer, so she records and mixes her stuff really good, where it's almost just drag and drop. But that applies to everything. If you find a good bass or a good drum kit, you get me? Like it sounds good by itself, but when you put it in the project, just don't forget to mix it down. You get me? Take off some of those frequencies, because they're all super loud and limited, clipped, whatever you want to call it, where you got to mix it down, because if you don't, when it comes to the mastering, it's just louder.
Yeah.
Sure.
I always like mix all my vocals, even if they're already being pre-recorded or, download.
Yeah, I mainly say that for people who are, just beginning and they're just grabbing stuff from Splice and just putting it in. Just don't forget to mix it down. Yeah. You should be fine. And then as the more experience you have, you'll hear the difference and stuff like that. It's not even until now, like for example, when I do vocals, it's not until now. And you get me, I've been doing this music stuff since like I was like 19, I'm 27 or 18, and now I'm 27. So now I kind of hear, not kind of, but I hear the compression. Like I hear like a 2 dB compression. I was like, oh, okay, crap. Like your your ears really do develop throughout the years as you keep practicing and all that stuff. So don't worry about if you're beginning, you don't hear that. It's gonna come with time. Just keep at it.
Yeah, that's just practice at that point. It's like, and obviously with the feedback, it comes along the way as well. It's like if you ask for some feedback for engineers or producer homies, not your regular homies, which they don't know anything about music, because if those homies, they're just gonna say, "Damn, that's fucking dope. You did that, shit, man." Yeah, no, not those guys. Like they're there to support you, but they don't know anything about
Of course, yeah, it's not their fault. They're you get me. They're not in the field.
Yeah,
you get me. It's not their fault, but yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, get feedback from people who actually know what they're doing. And even like I say that people know what they're doing is because sometimes you might have friends that are producing and like they're at the same level as you or a little bit low, but they don't really know like what's really wrong with it. You get me? They just hear like, oh, the big idea, it's cool and it's crazy,
right?
But they don't know all that stuff. Like for example, when I hear your when I get songs for you for feedback and stuff, like I don't just hear it on my phone. I just hear it on this. I hear it on my monitors, my car, and stuff like that. Because like at the end of the day, you get me, your music is gonna be heard in all those things. So you just gotta reference all those things, and then, like I said, with time, you'll know what you're looking for and stuff. And one thing that Virtual Riot that I picked up a long time ago, like remember his early streaming days, like, years ago, is like always reference your track, man. Just always reference your track with other songs, man.
I agree.
It's not until years ago that I started doing that. And I was like, dude, it's the best thing ever, because we love bass. You get me? We love when bass really should be felt and not heard, and you can't feel it with this. But when we boost the bass, it sounds good here. But when you listen into, like, for example, the live sound, the bass is gonna take over everything. Your bass is gonna be here, and your mids and highs are gonna be around here. So it's gonna sound like muffled and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's very weird, when you play some of these songs on live sounds, that is like you can notice the difference. It's like, holy shit, that's not how it sounded on my monitor.
When you go to a studio, you're just like, oh shit, dude, my mix sound is shit.
Yeah.
That's why I when I make music, I make it in my monitors. But as you can see, my apartment, I just moved in here. and it's not treated like at all, and it's square all
Right.
over the place. So I try my best to mix it down here. And when I want to enjoy the song and just like vibe out, you get me? Not really paying attention to the mix. This is monitors for sure.
Yeah,
And use
the
grabs,
same.
spectral analyzers, all those stuff. Trust me, it's gonna be a game changer. If you can't play them out loud with a good environment, for sure, analyzers are your best friend.
I agree. That's actually the same method that I do. The same method that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna work on a project, it's on my monitors. But if I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the mixing or listening to a song for feedback, I have to listen to it my headphones, not these headphones. Like
Right.
these are just these are just composer headphones. These are just boosting your bass.
Yeah.
But like headphones, like for example, like Sennheisers, anything that comes from Sennheiser headphones, Studio Pro HDs,
Mhm.
amazing, highly recommended. Like if you want to get the budget version, like get the 200s, Sennheiser Studio HD Pro 200s.
Mhm.
Those were like standard for SAE for all the students and all the professors
Yeah.
as well. I still use it to this day. Nitty Gritty still use it to this day. I mean,
Yeah,
they're great headphones, so I highly recommend them.
Use them too.
What other headphones are very good? Like what the ones that you're using?
These are what's it called? I forgot the brand. They're the DT770 Pros. If you Google it, it's a pretty popular headphones. They're really good. They weren't that bad, honestly. They're 180. The only thing is you gotta have a really strong interface. If not, you're gonna have to have like an adapter to power these because these are 270 ohms.
Oh
So,
shit!
They require a lot of power. But as long as you just get an entry level headset, it all falls down. Like I said, just know how the headsets work and pay attention. Analyze other songs. How do the other songs sound on these headphones? If you can match that on those headphones, then you know you're in the right direction. You get me? It doesn't matter if you get headphones that are $60, $70, $80. You get me? Just study. And it's gonna take time. It's just like anything. You get me? You're gonna have to take time and get used to the headphones and see how every other song sounds like on these headphones.
Yeah, it's a process, you have to study.
Yeah.
You have to like listen carefully for every little details. Sometimes,
Mhm.
excuse me, sometimes even when I'm listening to music in my car, I probably heard the song like 20 times by now, but every time I listen to it, I hear the little details. And there's some hidden details that I didn't notice the first few times. And was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I didn't know this little detail was there. And now that I know, every time I listen to the song again, I listen to it
Yeah.
differently.
Oh, okay. You different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like because now I hear everything else that I heard plus that more little details, And everything goes by if you study and listening some of these songs, and it goes back again to reference tracks,
Yeah. And good songs. Sounds that are like, you get me, like made
Oh,
by people
yeah.
who know what they're doing.
But here's another thing I was also thinking about, because there's some songs out there that I feel like, holy shit, this sounds like it's not master, or shit, this sounds like a little bit kind of like muffled or not mixed properly, yet the song itself is being released and has like 200,000 plays.
It happens, man.
You got to be careful with those certain songs. It's not every song. Like if you listen to a song from Sunboy or Virtual Riot or even Skrillex,
Mhm.
like if you listen to songs from those guys, those pros, you can tell that shit is mixed to the teeth.
Yeah.
And
Even
it
their little
sounds-
beats and sound effects, they're mixed too, man.
They're-
Don't just like drag and drop those little bad boys because those add up.
That
All those
shit
little
is so
frequencies are gonna
tight.
add up.
Yeah, but if
Little thing has their own space, and I mean that frequency wise and stereo placement wise. So like panning and all that stuff.
yeah, but if you listen to a song from Must Die or Sudden Death
Mm-hmm.
or even Queso or Carnage, like I will try to stay away as much as possible from those guys, because even though those guys, maybe the song is maybe the song for you is shit and it's like great for 200,000 people, but if you listen carefully to the songs, you can hear that their kicks are smashed. You can hear some of the mixing is kind of too much compression on it. You can notice that the effects is kind of muffled, like you barely can hear it. You can hear some of the basses is distorted, Maybe it's like what the people like now. People like distorted bass, but even though there are ways to properly mix a distorted bass, you know?
Right. There's like harmonic distortion, and then there's like clipping distortion.
Exactly. You know, what you're trying to get to is the harmonic distortion. You don't want to get the clipping one, because the clipping one is when you get the real nasty shit that sounds just like, oh man, I don't want to hear this crap again. And that's the problem with some of these artists, that they have that problem. Like, I feel like either they didn't mix it at all, or they give the song to some amateur mixer or whatnot. I don't know. I just notice it on every song. Even though the song is dope, as a consumer, I may like it, but as an engineer, as a producer, I may have my strong feelings on it. I'll be like,
of course,
I would not use this song as a reference. I would not, because it'll misguide you a lot. It'll definitely misguide you.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta know. You just gotta know which reference track to use.
Yeah.
And of course, if that's the sound that you're going for, then I guess for it. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
I guess
dubstep is majority of the time distortion. You get me?
Yeah, but just to have it cleaned up. I mean, look at Virtual Riot's shit.
But like, you just gotta know when's the right amount.
Yeah.
Because another thing too is like, you also got to keep in mind when you're referencing a track, you also got to keep in mind that those tracks are already mastered. So when you're listening at a mixing point of view, you got to see where everything is placed, not loudness, because that's what you're referencing. As far as when you're engineering, you're referencing the mix. How's the mix? And then, so that's why I also tell people too, is like, when you reference a track for a mix, lower it down 10 dBs, because then you're going to try to mix loud, like crazy loud. And then when it comes to the mastering, your kick and your snare and all that stuff is already going to activate the limiter without you even lowering the limiter.
Yeah.
And that's where the distortion comes.
I always try to, mix and master as close as possible to Zomboy's way and Virtual Riots, because at least from industry wise, those are like one of the best engineers out there. Of course, Nitty Gritty is one of them, but his way of mixing is just it's Skrillex level.
I still haven't seen him in person do that. I'm like, damn, I want to see that. And Shindo's music is so clean.
Oh, man.
Every time he puts those previews, I'm like, damn, that's clean, bro.
And I don't know how these guys do it so clean, bro.
Yeah. One thing that I saw a couple years ago, but the plugin is so expensive. Right now it's on sale, but it's still expensive. There's Soothe. You heard of Soothe?
No, I don't
know. So Soothe is like an AI. Well, I don't even know if it's an official AI, but whatever. It's like a DS or EQ that takes all the way the harsh frequencies. So like, you get me? You put that on your master. Obviously, you mess around with the dry and wet, and dude, most of your stuff is gonna sound clean, man.
God damn.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm not saying you have with respect, you have a piece of poop, you're going to put it on, it's going to make it into a diamond. No, that's not how it works. I mean, you make it sound as good as possible, and then you add on that little 3% of Soothe.
Damn.
It just controls all your little frequencies that are peaking like really high when it comes to mastering. I mean, it's not going to distort it.
Jesus Christ. How much is that?
Normally, if I remember correctly, it's like $280, something like that. Yeah, and I think right now it's like at $150 or something like that. It's a really expensive plugin. Look, the one thing that I've noticed, and the more, I mean, because at the end of the day, I keep investing in all these things, but I stopped for a while. But back a couple of months ago, I was still investing.
All these plugin junkies? No more?
Yeah. As of now, just because like I'm trying to learn my tools and just work with what I got. Because dude, throughout the years, I bought so many stuff, and I'm just like, no, dude, I have a lot. There's the higher the price is, the more nitty it is. Like it's nitpicking stuff. You get me? It's like you really use it for like small amounts of stuff. You give it that like extra 2-3% to the song. You get what I'm saying? But they really do make a huge difference. Like it's small, but it's huge. I don't know how to say it.
Well, I'll tell you this. My only free plugins that I use overall is
Ableton Stock.
Ableton Stock. You already know. No, but I use I wouldn't call them plugins itself. I call that like that's already mandatory to all my projects. Like I'll use anything that's Ableton Stock, you know. But more of the third party plugins is Fat Filter, Serum, and Portal. Those are my only go-to plugins. Everything else is just stock plugins. That's it.
Funny enough, Serum is a VST.
I mean, VSTs are plugins, no?
No, plugins are like EQs and stuff like that. VST is for virtual instruments.
That's so bullshit. Why is it on my folders under the VST folders? Like they're all under my VSTs.
But that's the term. Well, that's what I read, and like ever since then, yeah, other engineers, I was like, oh, they're right. Yeah, it makes sense. Virtual instrument, and then the plugins.
Damn, bro.
I just wanted to throw that fun fact. It's not like serious or anything, though.
Well, in that note, you can scratch Serum. The wave plugins. You know the wave plugins.
Oh yeah. All started there with waves.
Yeah, man. But it's the ones that I have actually. Hold on. The ones that I have right here on Ableton Live is the ones that I use to mix and master my vocals for my podcast, and it's my go-to.
Oh yeah, you showed me that pack that they had the podcast.
Yeah, that one.
Good,
those are the ones that I use. Yeah. The NS1 stereo, that's the suppressor. The GW,
the NS1 suppressor,
voice.
that's the one with the one knob, right? That goes up and down. Like
that one. That's the suppressor itself. So you got the suppressor, and then you got the voice. Let me see, which one's this one? The voice centric. The GW voice centric.
I haven't heard of that one.
And then what else? And then once you got all those in your track along with Fat Filter, you send that to playlist. Let me see, which one's this? The playlist writer. You send it to the playlist writer, and then to the WLM plus stereo.
Oh yeah, that's
the master. That's the best one. That's when you're like, okay, I know where I am. I cannot pass that.
Yep, that's one of the analyzers that I recommend to people.
Yeah. The playlist writer is actually pretty cool because that's the thing that basically cancels out and lowers any or balances any other sounds that are between talking and whatever else you got. So it's
like volume automation, right?
Yeah, it has its own automatic volume automation. So what it does is like if you got it like a loop song and you don't want to have it like no you want to have you want to be talking and then have that background music.
Right.
What that does is like it levels down your background music, So it levels it down so that way it only focuses on your vocals and then just lowers it to a point in which it's a happy medium that we can all listen to it without losing, without having stuff to fight along.
Right.
It's also perfect for when you're conducting interviews. And let's just say that my audio is louder than the guest.
Right.
That basically pushes the audio level of my guest to match up my audio.
Oh, cool.
Which is actually pretty. Yeah, it's cool. Pretty dope. So it's the best money I've ever spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially I need that in my line of work since I'm always working with audio clips and vocals all the time.
Yeah, you need it. It's a necessity.
It's a necessity at that point, One thing I didn't know is that I didn't know that you have to renew some of these license.
You don't have to, but there comes a point where they're already so old with the new firmware. I mean, the new is it firmware? I think that's called firmware.
Yeah.
When new OS comes out, some of these Waves plugins don't work with them. I mean, it's just natural. You get me? Programs get outdated, and then the new programs need to run on new scripts.
Right.
But you don't always have to. I to this day I didn't. I almost had to when I think was it Capitan that came out for Mac. My Waves weren't working for the first 2 months or something like that, so I reverted back to the old one. And then a couple months later, I updated, and it works fine. So if that happens, just give it a couple months. Of course, if it doesn't work right away, just revert back to the old one.
Right.
But yeah, that does happen sometimes, or you just give it a couple times. But I guess when it's just already too old, the programs don't even want to read that language anymore, and they just need a new code. Or there's just something really different to the plugin that they do, but you don't have to renew it.
That's interesting because there are times in which I look at my Waves task manager, or even I get emails. It's like, hey, you got 30 days to renew this. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, that's just they give you so what that means is like when you buy a Waves plugin, let's say,
Mhm.
and they give you like 2 years or 3 years to upgrade for a discount. That's just meaning once you're already that time limit is already coming up, like, hey, listen, you only got 2 months left before we could give you a discount on this upgrade. After that, you get me, you would have to pay full price for the upgrade. That's really all what it is.
Oh. I
Yeah.
was wondering, it's like, what the fuck? I thought I bought these and I don't have to like.
Yeah. I don't see any reason why you would upgrade unless I mean if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I agree.
But yeah, you don't have to upgrade, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with whatever I got left. The only upgrade I did was Live 11.
Oh yeah, I feel like as far as DAW, you have to. For two reasons. Is because when DAWs update, it's a pretty big update. You get me? Like when they upgrade from like the 11 to 12, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Pretty big update, and there's new plugins. As far as there's new workflows to it.
Yeah.
There's new ways to record, all that stuff. And then second is also if you're working with like industry stuff, you have to be with the latest update as far as DAW. Because let's say you and me, we're in the latest Ableton, but then somebody that we don't know, they're still running Ableton 9, which there's nothing wrong, but I'm just saying that could be one of the reasons why you would want to upgrade.
Yeah.
Like easier workflow. You just share projects instead of stems, because especially if you work in the same DAW. You know what I mean? I feel like projects are way easier to work with than stems sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And you gotta light it up. You gotta, how sometimes the clip, when it warps it doesn't put it all the way fully. You gotta clip and all that stuff. But yeah, it's little tedious stuff, but for sure, if some people are already updated to the next one, for sure upgrade. And like I said, DAWs when they upgrade, like fully upgrade, not just like a little beta thing, it's really worth it to be honest. There's a lot of good stuff.
I agree, bro. I love Live 11 right now.
I've loved every Ableton to this day.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I've loved and I've abused to this day with the new Ableton is that they implemented the scales on the MIDI.
Yes, I was actually gonna get to that.
I always used to have a little piano roll picture here on my phone. I had to come back and look at my piano.
Yeah.
I know how to play the keys a little bit. I'm not a pianist or anything, but I know how to play it a little bit. But the scale itself has helped me a lot because I go, oh damn, you know what? Let me switch keys. Let me see where are the keys for that, and I just go here.
Dude,
and because FL Studios had that for years. Like,
really? FL Studios had that?
Yeah, like dude, when I started messing with FL Studio when I was like 16, 17, dude, that's they had that already, bro.
Oh shit. I never knew that.
Yeah. And in that sense, FL has a lot of things that Ableton doesn't have yet, but each has like something that they don't have. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, it's really helpful, honestly. It's
bro, they literally made Ableton Live for dummies now. Because literally anybody can make a song now, because now you're gonna be at the right scale. Let's just say that I just want an E major. You just literally set it down and you can only play they'll highlight it and you just like, all right, I'll make something out of it, and bang, I got something. It's like it's so easy to make a song now. That just make the workflow even better, bro.
Well, yes, that's what I was gonna say. It makes the workflow even better. But at the end of the day, you gotta know what you're doing. You get me?
Oh, of course.
You can't give the ingredients for a drink to a monkey and expect it to give it. Like, you get me?
I mean, I don't know, bro. Like I showed this to my coworker Archie, and he was like, "What are you talking about, man?" I was like, "Look, take a look at this." Mm-hmm. I show him a simple project, open new session, and it's like, here, I could just like go scroll any scale on any harmonic, and it's just like that's it. I just literally did something very random, and he goes like, "What the hell?" Oh man, like if you cannot have an excuse of not making a song anymore.
Yeah. Now the next thing that follows up to that is you gotta know how the scales work. You get me? It's not your simple just triads and all that stuff. It goes really deep into that. But like that's all stuff you learn through practice.